It's the final countdown. It's the final week of Major League Baseball. What is going on? Got DC, Gary, I'm Holden. Come on, you've been with us all season long. You know by now. Before we even start giving you the amazing baseball knowledge you need, hit the like button and subscribe, that little red thing down the right-hand corner. Now, also want to remind you that, all right, so it's the end of baseball season, but if you're struggling a little bit in football, or you just want to take it to the next level, we have a ton of football content. We are doing it the best. Core plays basically are our big guys. All they do is give you every single play that they can, and you got to fit maybe 3 guys in your lineup. You got to fit 3 or 4 guys in your lineup. They're giving you their best plays. Okay, so that's one thing. The second thing to get to, Simon, let's just get this out of the way, because there's so many winners. It's amazing. Susie, you're spectacular. Rose, a T23, 10K in tennis. I know not a lot of yours tennis. What are you doing with tennis? Very profitable. Susie is sensational. Major League Baseball, woo, finishing the season strong. Hunter R, 25K. And then my man Tex Graves, he's really not my man, I'm just saying he is, 77, 50K. Let's do the NFL real quick. Okie Horn. It's probably Oklahoma and Texas, huh? $3,200. Not too shabby. And Shawnee wins 10K. We got every sport covered. RPS Heater 25. I said RPS Heater 25. DC, this is kind of cool tonight because we've got some basically playoff games is what we got. We got the Phillies and the Braves, the Yankees and the Jays. And before we get into this monster slate where it doesn't seem like we're going to be worried about the weather, how exciting is this stuff? Like DFS baseball's been a grind, but there's right now it feels a little like the playoffs. It's cooling off. We got important games. This is fun.
Yeah, especially those 2 games that you mentioned, Yankees, Jays, Braves, Phillies. Those are really kind of the 2 big races left in baseball to get into the playoffs. The Phillies and Jays, both basically not must-win games quite yet, but getting right down to it, right? Season ends on Sunday. They're both a couple games back. So those are going to be awesome games. And like you mentioned, we love baseball, but it is a long, long season, right? Every single day. So I'm excited to, kind of wrap up the regular season. I mean, we still got a lot of the awards are up for grabs. The, kind of slowdown of Ohtani versus Vlad for AL MVP, I think is a good storyline. It has been for a while. Obviously the playoff races, and then, playoff baseball is it's like a whole different game almost, right? It's just so much more intense than kind of the grind of the 162 in the regular season. So I love playoff baseball. We'll have, of course, some good content for that, for DFS and everything else on the site. But for today, another good 13-game slate.
Hey, so obviously we work on a micro level, digging into individual players and stuff. And I'm betting it's just a little bit, it's a macro level, right? So, and you're still digging in, but you're looking at a big picture. And on the betting side, very successful, backing teams with motivation. Do you incorporate that into DFS right now? Final week, does motivation matter or just matchups matter?
Yeah, I mean, you got to start looking at how teams are treating, especially their pitchers, right? We're going to see pitchers kind of ramping it down here. I mean, I've been saying it for the last month. I think people were calling for, guys like Brandon Woodruff to be on a pitch count earlier than it happened for most of these guys. You just don't just quit with 3 weeks to go in the middle of the season. But now you can see the finish line, right? It's his last start. So now would be a time where it's okay, we'll ease off. We'll get ready for the playoffs. So this is a week when I think you've got to look at that a little bit more closely, specifically with starting pitching, and be a little bit hesitant to invest. A guy like Woodruff, I think, is a good example today, 10.3K. We just don't know how long he's going to be out there, right? The Brewers, I think, have nothing to play for. Is that right, Gary? I think it's all said and done and dusted for them. So, yeah, we'll see.
K Fallick, just what are you talking about? K Fallick in the chat, he's lost it. Gary is a diehard Braves fan. He's the spawn of Chief Nakahoma. He's sitting here right now. Mr. Braves Phillies tonight. Before we get into this DFS side, how are you feeling as a fan, Gary? You jacked up about tonight, Charlie Morton, Zach Wheeler?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Charlie Morton's just been grinding all year. He's the guy. He's the big game pitcher. mean, Wheeler has been outstanding. He's been a Cy Young candidate all year. I mean, definitely definitely going to be watching this game. It's going to be a lot of good pitching. I just hope that Snitker doesn't bring in Will Smith in the ninth.
Okay. That's it? You just hope
That's
he
it.
doesn't.
That's it, because he's terrible. Will Smith has been awful. Our closer, he's like a walking heart attack. Like the other night, he walked 3 batters, struck out 3 batters to win the game in the bottom of the ninth. Like, come on now, like, let's go.
Gary, you're the Braves fan. How do you see this game going down? Morton versus Wheeler. I mean, I think to me this is kind of the marquee game on the slate. Maybe not from a DFS perspective, although I do think both pitchers very much in play. But yeah, I mean, what do you think? I'm sure you watch the Braves almost every night.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely going to be interesting. Braves, I mean, they've been hitting recently, but again, I mean, they just came out of Arizona, I think. They had San Diego, they had that West Coast trip, kind of beat them up a little bit. So I think they're happy to be back home. Yeah. I mean, they're lucky to be back home in this series. And I think we take 2 or 3 here. So I'm not going to say that we're going to sweep the Phillies because they got their aces. We both lined up our top 3 pitchers for the whole series. So it should be fun, and it's going to be a lot of good pitching.
Okay, let's get into this thing. Nice big slate tonight. We will start at pitching. You know what, Gary? Since you're so high on Charlie Morton, why don't you start us off tonight? Charlie Morton, Zach Wheeler. What are we doing with them?
I like Wheeler. I do like Wheeler, but I don't think I'm going to go there on this slate. He's 10.5K. The Braves bats are, they can rough up anybody. They're at home. I just don't think I want to pay that price on this slate when I want to pay up for some bats. But I do have interest in Morton. I mean, his ownership looks like it's going to be somewhat down a little bit. The price is okay. I mean, he's just been steady like all year. One thing that does concern me with Morton, I'm really big in the batted balls in play, the stat, and he has the lowest batted balls in play on the slate. So normally that means regression is coming a little bit. I'm only playing 2 lineups. I won't have Wheeler or Morton up here.
Gary, what if his batted balls are just all the players in the shift and his batted balls?
That's possible too. I just
rather go elsewhere next year. Then you're done with your regression for this year. Like, just throw it in.
That is true.
It's true, but you're not going to heed that warning, are you?
I'm not going to have any Morton or any Wheeler.
Okay. DC, Morton, Wheeler, and your overall top 2 pitchers.
Yeah, I'm off Wheeler as well. Just more expensive. I don't want to go against this Braves lineup in Atlanta. It's a tough spot to be. It's one of the best lineups out there on the slate. They're much better at home. They have been the last couple of years. And I just think there are safer places to go, especially for, a pitcher like Wheeler that's so expensive. There are good bats, like you mentioned, Gary. So I'm off Wheeler. Morton, I think, is more in play, especially at FanDuel. You get a nice discount on him, 8,600, I believe, over there, compared to 9,200 on DraftKings. So Morton, I think, in play. Both sides, I would take him straight up over Wheeler. So yeah, Morton over Wheeler for me, especially on FanDuel. And then a couple other guys I'm looking at. I think Chris Sale is pretty interesting going into Baltimore. He's just so much upside against that team, even though he hasn't been super dominant since he's come back from that injury. And then I'm going back to Logan Webb. Really disappointed us last time out, but prior to that, he had been good. So many starts in a row. I had a rough one in San Diego, back at home here against Arizona, against a team that, man, a long season for the Diamondbacks, right? You got to imagine these guys are kind of ready to be done with it. Now they got to go into San Francisco, face a really, really tough righty in Logan Webb. You see that team total below 3 for the Arizona Diamondbacks and just below 3, which I think is the lowest on the slate or close to it anyway. So yeah, Logan Webb, I think he bounces back in a big way and goes strong in his final start of the year.
All right, so Logan Webb, where are we going here, Gary? Since you're not going with these 2 guys, they're so scary. Where are you going?
Yeah, Logan Webb. I agree with everything DC said there. Logan Webb's my top guy tonight. I think he's going to crush this Arizona lineup. And then also I'm going to take a shot. I've been off of him since he came back from injury. I see his ownership is up there, but I like Chris Sale a lot in this spot. His price tag is I think they're going to let him go here too a little bit. His price tag is okay. It's a must-win game for him. So I think on my main lineup tonight, I'm going Sale and Webb.
Sale and Webb is the top two. Let's go through the rest of it. Let's get through all the rest.
Well, so let's talk about Chris Sale a little bit, because I think he's Chris Sale. He's definitely in play here. Gary, what do you think about Chris Sale right now? Like the last time we saw him, he was pitching through injury and struggling, but before that, he was so good for so long. Do you think he's going to get back to that level? Do you think he's close to that dominant Chris Sale that we saw, in like 2018?
Everything that I see, his slider and his delivery, everything looks fine. Like, so
that's my take too. But his results haven't been that great, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm willing to take a shot here. I know he's popular. I just don't like any of the cheap guys. So yeah.
There's nobody down low. What's the lowest you'll go, DC?
I got a guy that actually like a decent bit here, AJ Alexy. You don't think you'll get him at high ownership. Kind of a little bit of an off the board play for sure, but I'll make the case for him. Really, really high strikeout rate in the minor leagues coming up. We're talking, 11, 12 Ks per nine at a couple different stops. Was over 10 Ks per nine in every single stop throughout his minor league career. Hasn't translated yet, but he's had some pretty tough matchups. Just got roughed up in New York. Before that, roughed up in Houston. Different story today, right? For a rookie pitcher at home against this Angels team that just doesn't, outside of Shohei Ohtani, there's really almost nobody that you figure in that lineup. And even Shohei Ohtani hasn't been hitting all that well over the last, month and a half. So, I'm just looking at that Angels lineup, the nice park to pitch in for Alexy. And he does have good stuff, a fastball that he can run up there 95, and both his breaking balls look good to me too. So I think there's some talent in there that hasn't shown through his first few starts, partly because of the matchups he's faced. But of his 4 starts, one of them was against the Angels, and he put up 27 DraftKings points in that start. So he's got it in him. He's done it before against this team 3 starts ago. I think he's got an okay chance to go 20 plus again. And we'll go under the radar. He's super cheap, right? 6,300. You pair him with a Logan Webb or a Charlie Morton, and you can get a lot of the bats that you want. So he's the guy that's cheap that I kind of want to go to. And I think most people are going to mostly be spending up for 2 pitchers, right? So going with a cheap pitcher, because there's not really very many guys that I think are even in play at all, which means most people will not go with the cheap pitcher. And that gives you a different build. It gives you access to a couple more big bats that you can spend up to differentiate your lineup. And I would recommend, if you are going to a guy like Alexy and spending down at starting pitcher, use your salary, right? Even if you maybe don't think it's an upgrade to go from a $4,500 guy to a $5,300 guy. If you're using this strategy, you kind of have to do it because you get leverage against the field, because most people can't afford all those bats because they're paying up for pitchers. So you got to make sure to use that salary if you're doing that.
Here's just a final note on pitching here. This is from Grant McCauley, who covers the Braves. Charlie Morton owns a 1.7 FWAR since the end of July, 13th best against MLB starters, and Atlanta's won just 3 of the 10 games. That's interesting. Doesn't have too much to do with tonight, although we know Morton's been pretty damn good, but I think it's something to throw out there. Okay, like button. I asked for 600 likes on Sunday. We got over 600. And this is not, listen, how about this? If you've been grinding with us all season long, or even just the last few weeks, it doesn't matter. Hit the like button, say, hey, thank you. Thank you, DC. Thank you, Gary. Screw you, Holden. That's all you got to do. Hit the like button. It'll be very nice. Also, tonight I am taping the Wishbone podcast, aka the Old Guys podcast. Uncle T already saying horrible things to me behind the scenes. G Rison will probably be wasted, and JT Hayes will be pining to talk football, but we won't allow him to for at least the first half of the show. So be on the lookout, the Wishbone, and make sure you subscribe to all of our podcasts. DC's been doing a whole bunch of podcasts this year with the baseball. We got our 2 football podcasts out right now. I'm sure we're going to have more on there. So the Run Pure Sports podcasts are out there too. DC, weather. Let's talk about that for a second. I'm not seeing too much tonight. It's raining right now here in Denver a little bit, but I think it'll be a little cooler at Coors, but I think we're going to be fine just about everywhere. How about you?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're good to go. Baltimore, Boston, I guess maybe some tiny concern there. We'll keep an eye on that, but as of now, I would build your lineups as if all these games are going to play without issue.
Yep. Gary, you too? You're cool with the weather?
I'm cool with the weather.
All right, let's do it. We got quite some time. Maybe we could just start picking out games that you guys are interested in. DC, you got anything in Baltimore, Boston tonight?
Yeah, I mean, you got to love we talked about Chris Sale being definitely a top play on this slate. I think he's kind of right there with Charlie Morton and Logan Webb. Those three guys, I think, are the top price pitchers to choose from. But you got to like the Boston bats here too. Team total near 6. No surprise, right? Bruce Zimmerman, this awful Orioles bullpen. We mention it, on the show 5 days a week. I probably mention it every single time the Orioles are on the slate because it's just that bad. It's worth targeting. I specifically like the right-handed power here, but I mean, the Red Sox have a ton of that. Hunter Renfroe, 4,200 and 4,200 on DraftKings, 3,600 on FanDuel. I think he's one of the better plays on the slate. That'll be reflected in ownership for sure. You've got JD Martinez, 4,100, Xander Bogaerts, 5K. I mean, this whole lineup is in play against the Orioles. If you want to go with the full-on Red Sox stack, no problem with it at all. I think that'll be a popular route, but certainly a high upside one.
Gary, besides for Sale, anyone from Boston or either side of this game? You're probably not gonna like anyone on the other side, obviously.
Yeah, I think Boston's my top stack tonight. I like the Coors game. Nothing against it, but I just think this Boston team, after getting swept, I mean, they're going to come out with some fire here, and they're going to pound this Baltimore team. I also really like Rafael Devers and Kyle Schwarber, especially Schwarber. I'm seeing really low ownership on him, and once Zimmerman gets out of there's going to be a righty coming in, and he's probably going to hit one tonight. So I definitely like Boston. They're in my core tonight. I haven't fully decided who I'm going to pair them with yet, but yeah, Boston's my top stack.
Boston's your top stack tonight. Okay. You got Gary's top stack already, peoples. New York and Toronto. I'm just pumped about this series for the sole fact that it means a ton. Basically, Toronto's got to sweep the Yankees here. It's possible. Stanton's been on fire, boys. Yankees and Blue Jays. And Gary, let's start with you on this one then. Offensively, I mean, do you want to go to – it's hinging for you. Do you want to go back to Stanton tonight? Can we go to Stanton? And what do you think the Blue Jays do to Tyone tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think going back to the Yankees here is completely viable. Ryu has been pretty bad against right-handed bats, and he's going to face a ton of them here. Stanton's on fire. I'm not going to full stack him here, but I do like some one-offs or maybe a little 2 or 3 man stack. So, and on the Toronto side, Toronto's always in play. I think Taillon is a lot worse against lefties. So I typically target him with lefty-heavy teams for the most part. So I don't have any interest in Toronto tonight.
All right, DC, either one of these teams, you're gonna be picking some pieces.
It would be the power from the Yankees, right? Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge against Ryu. Again, neither of these pitchers is a guy that I love picking on, rather, specifically Ryu. I don't often take hitters against him, but given how hot those guys are, specifically Stanton, I have no problem with that. You'll get him at pretty low ownership here. It's Giancarlo Stanton. He's on fire, and he's against a lefty, right? So I think he's a good play. I think Judge is a good play. But part of the problem, we're talking end of the season, and all these teams have nothing to play for, and they're just running out horrible pitchers. This game's the opposite, right? These teams have everything to play for. They're going to be rolling out the best pitchers that they have available, playing matchups all game, and it's just harder to get there when it's one of like 4 teams on the slate where they're actually going to be super focused on winning and using all their best pitchers and all that stuff. So that's what's discouraging here. But Stan just needs 2 swings of the batters, right? He doesn't need the whole game to go off. He just clubs a couple home runs and there he's in the optimal. So Stanton, Judge would be my picks here.
Okay. Stanton back in the circle of trust. 4 straight nights is what he's going for with another home run. So this is nice. We're sitting at 105 likes. Uncle T is 61 years old. So if we can get to 161, that would be the goal tonight, to say thanks to all of us for doing the show for you this season, the free show for us this season. And 161 is the number right after Uncle T's age. That old son of a bitch. It's just amazing how he continues to chug away. I got a lot of respect for you, Uncle T, because a man of your age, the fact that he's still grinding this out, very impressive. All right, Gary, Philly, Atlanta. No bats in this one, right? Is there anybody we can take out of this?
Yeah, I'm not even gonna do it. But both totals are under 4. I'm just gonna pass on everybody here.
DC?
Pretty much the same, yeah. I mean, again, the true studs, right? Bryce Harper, you want to play a Bryce Harper against Charlie Morton, of course. He's just an absolute monster, might win that MVP. And then on the other side, if you wanted to play Freeman and Albies, I wouldn't have an issue with that. But that would be, need to be playing a good number of teams before I'm going to this game at all.
All right, then let's go to your favorite team, the Twins, because we got a little Charlie Barnes action tonight going up there. I'm sure you're excited about that. Tyler Alexander, who, he's not really good for DFS purposes, but he's been keeping his team in the game. You want anybody from this side? Do you want to just throw out a ceremonial Minnesota lineup just for old time's sake?
I should. Yes. I'm trying to avoid losing any more money on the Twins for the rest of the season. But maybe for old time's sake, I can drop another Benjamin on the Twins or something that. So, I kind of like the offenses here a little bit, right? Like, why not? I mean, 2 really, really bad lefties, 2 bad bullpens, a decent enough hitting environment. Both of these pitchers are pretty susceptible to right-handed power, and especially the Twins, they've got a lot of it. You might talk me into it, Holden. I hope not. But Buxton, Polanco, Donaldson, Garver, Sano, like all these guys can tee off against a bad lefty, and Tyler Alexander is one of them. So they're not my main team, but they're up there. They're up there for sure.
All right, you're gonna throw some dudes in there. I like it. I like where we're going with this. Gary, can you make a case for any Tigers or Twins? The Tigers actually, after getting their asses kicked, put some runs up late against the White Sox yesterday. So they're still trying. It's nice to see they're still out there busting their butts.
I mean, yeah, I get it. 2 bad pitchers. I'm just not touching Detroit. I mean, I'm looking at their last 30 versus a left-handed pitcher, and it's just very, very bad. So I'm staying away from them on a 13-game slate. And on Minnesota, I mean, yeah, the top guys are always in play here, but I see them a little bit of ownership getting on them, and I know the optimizers are pumping them into lineups too. So I don't know if I want to do a somewhat chalky Minnesota team on a 13-game slate when we have all these other spots. So I'm staying away from this one too.
Okay, we're done with that one. Milwaukee, St. Louis. So we're just flying through these again. Love it. Milwaukee, St. Louis, gentleman. Wainwright. Can we trust Wainwright tonight, or do we want to target him this evening? Same thing with Woodruff. I mean, you're going to see a lot of the bullpen, aren't you, DC? You're not going to see a lot of Woodruff. I don't even know what their bullpen rotation could be here. So why attack him, right? Why attack Woodruff tonight?
Yeah, the Cardinals obviously with the the heroic run to close out and get a playoff spot, but they can't catch the Brewers for the division. Brewers lead's too big, so these teams, they're kind of gearing up for, I think, playoff mode at this time. I don't think the wild card seedings or anything are really up for debate in this last week. So I don't know what to expect from Wainwright and Woodruff, right? Like. They've continued to ride these guys. Obviously, Wainwright, they needed him. Woodruff, they haven't shut him down yet. But we talked about at the top of the show, I kind of think it would sure make a lot of sense for me for the Cardinals and Brewers managers to back off 2 of their best pitchers after a long season, right? Both these guys have been out there the whole season, a lot of innings on their arm. And you would think, get ready for the playoffs and maybe ease off the gas on this one. So I can't play either pitchers at these price points. Hitting, I mean, I assume Wainwright and Woodruff are still going to be pitching well while they're out there, right? They're not just going to be throwing fastballs over the middle or something like that. So you see it reflected in them total, right? A 7 total in this one. I just don't see really anything in this game. I think probably my least favorite game overall.
Gary, is this your least favorite game overall?
For DFS purposes, yeah.
I mean, it's pretty bad. I mean, both totals are 3.5 or under. So yeah, I'm not going here.
Where'd you get that hat? It's the
same
hat.
one. It's a branded Bills, just like the last one I had.
Yeah. I didn't see that one though.
Yeah, it had
you had like an eagle. I think you had an eagle like stabbing a Russian or something.
No, it wasn't. It was definitely amazing. Was not.
He came down and was
like
doing that, killing communists and things like that. It was just.
I need some of those patriotic hats in my way. I can't get any RPS gear. Maybe I can get some Gary gear over here.
That's what I'm saying. I don't have any RPS gear either.
Yeah, people don't like wearing America gear anymore. I wear America gear, Gary. I like America gear. I think it looks badass.
We like America here at RPS.
I love America. Yeah. I love it. We got faults, but we're totally awesome. And we won't be dominated by China for at least another 10 years. So, enjoy it while we got it, gentlemen. The Angels and the Rangers. What if I decide to play Ohtani tonight, Gary? Is that ever a bad move? Can I throw a little Shohei out against Alexi?
Absolutely. I don't think Alexi's that good. So I think you can for sure. I won't be doing it though. I just like other spots more, but yeah, you can never, he's going to be the MVP. I don't think there's any discussion to be made. I know, Vlad's had a great season. But you can't give it to anybody other than Ohtani here. So definitely would not fault you for that.
Okay. Anybody else from this game?
No. Naughton, who's this Packy guy? I don't know what to expect. I wouldn't be shocked if Packy Naughton threw a good game tonight. I will say that.
Really? Why?
I don't know. The Angels have just been terrible. They've been striking out. Or no, the Texas Rangers. They're just bad. They're in Texas. It's a pitcher's ballpark. Yeah.
I just want to DC. Why don't you go real quick, and then I got to give a shout out to somebody in chat. So, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, I actually think both Packy Naughton. I talked about AJ Alexei at the top of the show being on him, but I think Packy Naughton is kind of in play too. I think Alexi has more pitch count upside and a little more strikeout upside, in my opinion. But maybe Naughton, you could argue, is a little safer. So yeah, if you want to go down to him at 5,300 and load up on bats, I have no problem with that. And then I talked about Alexi. I think he's better than he's shown so far. I like the matchup for him. I like that he's at home, and so I'll roll the dice there. 6,300. I think we'll get him pretty low ownership. Hitters, it would be Ohtani, right? He would be the guy that I would play, but I'm on the Texas pitcher, so I'm not going there myself.
Okay. I want to shout out to Quentin Noland. Thank you for providing my content for all of MLB. Finally going to get my membership. Quentin, welcome to the team, buddy. RPS Heater 25. RPS Heater 25. 25% off first month's payment. And then when you get in there, make sure you tell the guys get bets, because I want you to get the bet side too. Absolutely smashing it. No doubt about it. We are, 36 shy of our goal. We want to get to 161, which is Uncle T's age. If we can do that, we'll be very happy, and we appreciate you guys listening and watching us this season. DC, any White Sox or Reds this evening? White Sox offense actually woke up a little bit yesterday. It was nice to see that they still actually wanted to do something. They've been playing like garbage. Got Riley O'Brien going up against them this evening. And then good old Ronaldo Lopez. Great stuff. No command. What do you got here tonight?
Yeah, I kind of like the White Sox side a little bit. Just the matchup for them is so good. I don't want to go with the full stack just because, like you mentioned, I don't know, just a team with not a lot to play for right now. But like Luis Robert, this dude's been making up for some lost time, right? Missed all that time due to injury, and he's just been an absolute monster since he came back. He's I think a lot of players are kind of getting tired of, this last week of the season. They're ready to be done. But like a Luis Robert who missed a lot of the season, been tearing the cover off the ball. He's relishing a matchup against Riley O'Brien, right? He's ready to hit some more bombs. So he's one of my favorite plays on this slate. I think you can go to guys like Abreu, Grandal, Eloy too. White Sox stack, I think, is a decent way to go, but I do prefer the one off of Robert there. And then, Ronaldo Lopez, I think, another guy, you could play him here. You see that team total below 4 for the Reds. We know Ronaldo Lopez. You said it perfectly, Holden. Great stuff, horrible command, but he does occasionally find his command and throws a 10 strikeout game just because he has the stuff to do it. It's extremely difficult to predict when that will be. But I just don't think there's that many pitchers on the slate, his price point or below, who could give you a big game. So you could consider him. Not really on the Reds bats. Joey Votto would be the guy I'd be most likely to play, but mostly fading the Reds bats here.
Okay. What do you got? You got any Reds that you like tonight? Any White Sox? Scary.
Yeah. White Sox for sure. This pitcher is not good. He doesn't have any command. He walks a lot of batters, and that's going to create a lot of runs. So, I don't mind like a mini stack here, not a full stack. Just I'm not really a White Sox full stacker, but yeah, I think they're in play. I actually have a little more interest in Cincinnati here, and I'm trying to debate if they're going to make my main squad or not. Ronaldo Lopez has just been awful over the past month. He's got a 371 ISO versus lefties, 257 ISO allowed versus righties. And I pull up, what the Reds have done against right-handed pitching over the last month, and there's a lot of green on my screen. So I like Max Schrock here. He's 2,500. He's batting second. I like him a lot. I like Votto. I like Castellanos. He's been on a heater recently. Yeah, I mean, the one worry I have with this team is the White Sox bullpen is really good. So I don't know if I'm going to full stack them, but I'm considering a 2 or 3 man here.
A little 2 or 3 man. All right, little mini stack. I don't mind that at all. DC, let's move on to the next game. Why don't you guys take your time on this? I just got to step out for a second. But Cleveland, Kansas City, Singer, Savali. Actually, you might not have a lot to talk about this game. Yeah, let me pick another game. DC, you just want to defer to Gary. Gary?
Yeah, so Cleveland, KC is, Singer, I don't know what to do with this guy. I mean, I'm showing that he's going to be very chalky. He's 8,300. I'm not playing Singer, but I'm definitely not going to play any Cleveland bats either. I mean, he's been pretty good recently. I just remember Singer when I played him when he was like 5,400 or something, and he got blown up. So I'm not going there. And Saval actually has been really bad recently. I think he just made a rehab stint a little bit ago, and he got roughed up down there too. I don't mind a little 2 or 3 man. I'm saying that a lot, but I don't like a lot of full stacks outside of a couple games. So Salvi's probably going to go deep here. I mean, he's been going deep every night. So I definitely like a little bit of a 3 man here for Kansas City.
Then you know what we're going to do? We're going to go to Coors Field, because there's always, and listen, if you need to call title in to talk about Coors Field, that's fine. But I know, DC, that this is a game that you can at least talk about.
I got it today. I got my Rockies hat on. Yeah, I'm
good.
Ready
Washington, Colorado, and I'll see you in a minute.
All right. Yeah. Highest total on the slate here in Colorado. Colton mentioned it, a little cooler, but the wind is blowing out to center field, which does matter quite a bit in Coors Field. 11.5 total. The Rockies team total over 6. Nationals 5.5. Kyle Freeland, Patrick Corbin, 2 lefties. We know how bad Corbin has been all year long, and I'm interested to get your thoughts on how he'll be affected by Coors Field, Gary, because he's the fastball slider, right? And the slider, they kind of look the same. His slider doesn't actually move that much; it just kind of plays off the fastball. So, in general, I don't like pitchers that are reliant on breaking balls here, but I think he could be, less affected than maybe some are, but still, a tough spot, right? Colorado continues to hit at home, not on the road, but at home they continue to get it done. And then you look at their price points. 1 through 5, Colorado stack up against the lefty. They've all got the platoon advantage. You've got Hampson at 2.8. These are DraftKings prices. Brandon Rogers 3.9. Story 4.6. Crone 3.6. Elias Diaz 3.8. This is a team with the highest team total on the slate by far, and they don't have a player on DraftKings with a price point over 4.6. Most of these guys are in that 3K range. So you can stack up any version of the Rockies lineup that you want. That's the way I'm going to go tonight. It's just sometimes you just got to take the, it's just sitting there for you to do it. I think they're going to do work against Corbin. And, you can fit in big bats around them. So kind of giving away my strategy a little bit, but going a little cheaper at pitching, taking the chalk with Colorado, but with the cheap pitcher that most people won't play, because you can afford 2 good pitchers with the Rocky stack and then fill in value bats, right? I think the way I'm choosing to get different tonight is going with the chalky Rocky stack, but going off the board at starting pitcher 2 and then upgrading those other 3 bats that fill out my lineup, right? Maybe get some access to a guy like a Jose Ramirez who won't have any ownership at third base because everybody's trying to save, things like that. So there's just one way to attack it. 13 game slate, you got to try to get a little different somewhere. For me, I just kind of want to ride the Colorado Rockies chalk tonight.
We've got Travis Mangone wanting us to go to a Rockies game with him. And to the jackass in chat that said I was going to poop. No, my daughter's got the squirts, not me. DC, are we going to a Rockies game with Mangone, or is that just not going to happen before the season's over?
Well, we got a couple days left, but yeah,
not going to happen, Mangone. Yeah. Sorry, buddy.
Mangone, I'll meet you there tonight.
Gary, Coors Field, please be as detailed as possible.
I mean, I don't know about being detailed, but I mean, they're always a good play here. Corbin, I somewhat agree that his pitches aren't going to be that much affected. But the one thing I do see here with these Rockies hitters is, so Corbin has a high ground ball rate to, righties and lefties. And a lot of these guys on the Rockies are, fly ball hitters, Story, Crone, Diaz. So, I mean, I could definitely see them just teeing off here. I'm looking at some pitch profile stuff too. They hit the slider pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of green here. So I definitely like some Colorado, but I also I will say that this young Washington Nationals team has just been hitting recently. I mean, Soto he's just been incredible. There's no other way to say it. You got Zimmerman in the lineup against the lefty. Ruiz, I think he's been better versus righties recently, but Colorado doesn't have any lefties in the pen. I think they have one maybe. So, and it doesn't be a righty. He'll get flipped around. I think I actually prefer the Washington side here, just from a pure ownership discount. And, I'm just going to bet that they're going to keep on hitting here.
All right. Let's see where we're only 20 likes shy of Uncle T's age. We are at 141. So that's wonderful. I like it. No, Jay Reed, that was not it. My poor daughter's on the other side. You guys leave me, lay off my daughter. Jay Reed, you start doing that, buddy, we're going to have a problem. I know you're messing around. So 161 likes, and then I'll continue to remind you, the wishbone, me, Uncle T, JT Hayes, and of course, G Risen tonight. Uncle T has said he's in a lot of, he's angry and he's not happy. So we're going to have to bitch slap him, and that'll happen. An audio bitch slapping of Uncle T tonight. If that's what needs to be done, right, Uncle T? I mean, you've been a little cranky lately. So the Wishbone Pod, subscribe to that. Let's move on and on and on and on. DC, the game that I had to skip over, now I've got to go back to, it's 30 minutes before the game in our town. Tampa Bay at Houston. Can I go cheap here? Can I throw, I really want to throw Aledmys Diaz at 2K on FanDuel. Can I play him against Waka?
You certainly can. I just don't know if you need to.
Okay.
I think there are better value plays out there, but he's fine. I mean,
what's a better value play?
What
do you think? Just, is there anyone off the top of your head you'd say, okay, my favorite value play of the day?
I like Max Schrock better. I mean, the Rockies guys, Hampson is 2.8K. Jonathan Daza is 2.3K. So just a few there. Yeah, I mean, I like the Astros power here. Jordan Alvarez, Kyle Tucker, I think are good plays against Michael Wacha. But you don't really love going up against that Rays bullpen, obviously. And yeah, I mean, Urquidy, obviously a good pitcher on the other side, but the Rays have a good lineup. I wouldn't pitch Urquidy or anything like that. So yeah, this game mostly a fade for me.
Gary, any Astros bats you would be interested in tonight?
No, I'm going to pass. On this. I mean, both totals are under 5. So yeah, I'm not going to have any here.
Hey, any of you dudes in the premium chat have questions? Just about ready to start to get to them too. So start dropping them in the chat and drop them in volume, and we'll get to those. And then once we're done with the premium chat, if you want to put some questions in the other chat, we would absolutely be fine with that. So no doubt. Oh, we had a $20,000 winner in soccer. Really? See, K Fallick vouched for Gavitz here. Gavitz is always trying to trick me. IV23 won 20K in soccer. Guys, this is the whole thing. It's like, it's not just the big sports here. It's kind of like we excel at the smaller sports. On the bet side, Keg does a live NASCAR show. He just hit another 15-1 in race, mid race. I mean, there's just so much that's happening here. RPS Heater 25% off of your first payment. Next game to get to, Arizona, San Francisco. You messing with the West Coast here, Gary? 5-run total for the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants are always in play. I just think their lineup just took a hit. Brandon Belt broke his hand. I mean, it's just going to weaken their lineup a little bit. And they pinch hit so much. I know they're still fighting for that division crown, but I have a little bit of a respect for Weaver. So, yeah, I'm not going to play anybody in this game. And like I said earlier, Webb's my favorite pitcher. So I'm definitely not playing any Arizona.
TC?
Yeah, just looking Webb. You know, Brandon Crawford, I think, is a good play. But like Gary mentioned, the appeal of the Giants stack, you lose Brandon Belt, who's been on fire. And, you know, it's tough to feel confident in a stack in San Francisco anyway. You take him out of there, and it's just on a 13-game slate. I'll go elsewhere. So love Logan Webb. If you want to throw in a one-off Crawford, I don't hate that, but mostly fading it beyond the pitching.
Okay. What about the Dodgers in San Diego? Anything there?
Not a ton for me. What are your thoughts on Walker Buehler? We didn't really discuss him, Gary.
I don't know what to do with him, so I'm just staying away from him and staying away from the bats. I mean, his strikeouts are down. Like, I don't see anything with the underlying stuff, but he's had some pretty tough matchups. But I mean, I think he's got like a 16% strikeout rate over the last month. So, yeah. Like I said, I'm just staying away from both sides here.
Okay. Oakland, Seattle. Boys, anything in this game? Or are we done going game by game?
Not a ton for me. Just tough park. I mean, again, the A's righties you could play. Like Mark Canha, I think, is a decent one-off. Chris Bassett, we'll see how long he's able to go. Should pitch well while he's out there, but just not going to get enough pitch count to really consider him at SP, in my opinion. So, yeah, no, not a ton here, to be honest.
All right, let's get to the questions, my people. Let's do that, and then we got the free chat too. So let's get going. Yes, all entries funded by my parents, no longer Hoops parents. All of my entries tonight funded by my parents. That is true, Gavitz. Absolutely. Kuya wants to know, hey guys, better spend up, Devers or Soto?
I'll take Devers.
Yeah, super close to me. I'll go with Devers, my guy Gary.
Okay. What was I'm trying to find this. Oh, will Molina being scratched affect Wainwright's pitching very much? Florida Click. Do you guys have anything on that?
I don't have the data in front of me, but
yeah,
it could. You know, I mean, he's caught most of Wainwright's starts over his career, so I wasn't going to play Wainwright anyway. But you know, if you were on the fence, that would be a concern if I was on him. Yes.
Okay. Benintendi or Schrock, final piece, single entry from R. Jones. Either one you got to take on that?
Schrock is hitting a bomb tonight.
Yeah? Schrock's hitting a bomb.
Yes.
Let me go find that on DraftKings, see if I can go make a bet then. Max Schrock hitting a home run. Will you back that up?
Last time I called this, he did hit a home run, by the way.
He did?
He did.
Well, you know, if I go by your reasoning of batted balls and play and stuff, regression is due. So should I not jump on you? Because it's going to be less than 100% at some point in time, Gary. I mean, do I not want to go with this or what?
Hey, I like it.
You like it?
Yeah, I'm going to hit it right now.
Schrock here, DC?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it.
Listen, if Gary says he's hitting a bomb, he's hitting a bomb. I'm not going to argue with the man.
if Gary says it's just going to happen.
There are some calls that are so bold that you're just like, I don't know, like what, you know.
Gary, what did you?
You don't want to go against the very specific Max Schrock call. I've learned my lesson on that. He's probably going to do it.
Yeah. So how did you come up with that the first time, and then why are you going back to it tonight with Max Schrock?
Hey, I like a cheap guy batting high in the order against a bad pitcher, in my opinion. So I think he's hitting a bomb. They're
not even offering his prop anywhere. I mean, that's how deep of a dive this is, Gary.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
It's so scary. Okay. So we'll move on to the next question. It'll be good. How does an Oakland stack look on DK with Anderson starting? That's from Tigers fan Matt. What up, Tigers fan Matt? How are you? Anyone?
We're not on it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just think there's other spots.
I'm still looking up these home run props, Gary.
I'm not seeing it either.
I'm hitting it. I think it's very easy to say Max Schrock when you can't bet on it. That's all I'm going to tell you right now. Very disappointing, Gary. I'll just have to put him in my DFS lineup. That's what's going to happen.
Hey, he's 2,500. Do it.
Let's do it. He's nothing. Stoned? What does that mean, Tigers fan Matt? Stoned. He said, how does the Oakland stack look on DK with Anderson? Stoned. So I don't know if that's good or bad. Do you guys know if that's good or bad, or does that you just typing stuff? I don't know. You tell me. Good talk, guys.
Couldn't tell you.
Appreciate it. Would you play Brandon Mosh as a punt, even if you play Alexi at starting pitcher? Why are you doing that on a big slate?
Brandon Marsh is in JSU's core, so
yeah,
JSU likes him.
Yeah, but he ain't playing Alexi.
He's definitely.
Well, no, you're not going to play Alexi with a guy against him. That
was his question. He goes, "Would you play Marsh as a punt?"
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that.
Get up to Schrock.
You're not going to bother it. Okay, not going to bother with a gentleman. So we're not going there. What's the guy's favorite stacks? The kid. So you know what? We're not going to give out the JSU do a stack today. I got to go let me get my playbook up here. I just built my own stuff. I haven't even been looking at everyone else today. Gary, JSU draft sheet. All right. You guys got 2 of the 4 that are up there. Gary, will you talk about your FanDuel core? Just leave one of the players out. And then DC, why don't you take your DK core and leave one of the players out there. So Gary, let's go. FanDuel. One of our primos want to talk about the course. So let's talk about it, man. We know you're on Webb. We know you're on some Boston guys. You listed 3 Boston guys. So let's talk about them and specifically.
Yeah. So, I mean, Hunter Renfroe he's going to be very popular tonight. I mean, he's been really good lately. Bobby Dahlback's been hitting lefties incredibly recently. He's come on after the All-Star break, hitting bombs. We should get Devers a little bit lower owned because, the lefty on lefty matchup here. And then, obviously I try to stick with a 4-3 or a 4-4 stack here. So, I mean, my last 2 in my core, I mean, they're Cincinnati guys. So I'm sticking with Schrock. He's cheap. He's 2,200. So yeah, I think it fits perfect here. Logan Webb should come in a little bit lower owned, I think, tonight on FanDuel, just because I think everybody's going to play Brady Singer at 7,700. So I like where I'm at here.
Okay, very good. DC, your DK core is what I'm looking at right now. We already talked about pitching, if anybody forgot about that, but my God, you're going full course. This is great.
You gotta go.
So you know what? Instead of all of them, just leave one of the guys out. Give me why you put the guys in your core up there. Like what specifically about Hampson Rogers' story?
I mean, they're super cheap for one, hitting 1 through 3 in the order against a bad lefty. These are all guys that those 3 guys in particular, you actually can throw CJ Crone. If you look at their numbers overall, even against like right-handers in Coors, they're not super great, but you put them against the lefty in Coors and they just turn into absolute monsters. So, trust the numbers on this one. I think they do a little damage. So yeah, the 2 pitchers, Alexi, Logan Webb. You mentioned the top 3 hitters in the Rockies lineup, and I think if you're a astute listener, perhaps you can figure out the other guys I might have.
Ooh, yeah, I like it.
I don't know if we have any astute listeners. Maybe some.
Maybe. Oh, Brittany says I'm stoned. Okay, thank you, Brittany. Appreciate that. Wonderful information. And if you ever want to share that again, by all means, do so. Astros stack against Waka from Andrew Hutto. None of you guys weren't on the Astros, but let's say you were to play 3 or 4 Astros. Which Astros would look the most beautiful to you?
Jordan and Tucker to me.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the lefties here. I mean, Jordan's been crushing. So I don't have any issues with Astros ever. I mean, I probably play the Astros, well, outside of Steve Boynton, I probably play the Astros more than anybody here. So I'm just not really on them tonight.
That should say something. Although we got like 13 minutes to locks, I don't know if you want to completely blow things up just because Gary doesn't like them. Gary's only right 65% of the time. So the other 35% of the time, he's going to be wrong. Maybe today is that day. Anything there with you, DC? We already talked about Diaz. I guess he's fine in a stack, right? because you're going to be saving money down there. And if you wanted to wrap it around, but listen, we're not on the Astros. None of us really like them, but he wants to know about the Astros. Anything?
Not a ton. I mean, yeah, it's just those, those big lefties that we talked, big lefties that we talked about.
Okay. NS Coyer, Bueller or Webb?
Definitely Webb.
Kay Fallick, will you come on the show real quick, dude? We got 10 minutes to go. I want to get a couple of your thoughts here on the slate, actually, if you please. That would be very nice. And then Bueller or Webb is what he was asking. NS Coyer, did we answer that? You didn't answer that.
We both like Webb better.
Okay, very good. I was just.
You should have known that, Holden. Come on now.
Well, I knew you were, but do you like Urquidy? David Graves. Do you like Urquidy?
Nah, I'm worried about his workload here.
No?
Nope.
So we don't like the offenses, but we don't like the pitcher either.
It happens sometimes.
Okay, very good. Any other questions you guys got? Their draft sheet told us his whole lineup. He pulled a Big T. No, he didn't. You didn't tell him their whole lineup.
I would never.
No, you would never do that. That's just something that he didn't do. If you listen to the whole show very, very closely, then yes, maybe. But if you didn't, I mean, that's just the way it is. Maybe you figured it out, the kid, and good for you. Izzy, Astros bats profile great, FYI. Okay. I mean, these guys just aren't on them, so I don't know what to tell you about that. If they're not on them, then they're not on them, and I don't think we can do anything about it. How do you got sun in your face, DC? I'm a little bit jealous. It's like dark and cloudy.
Yeah, I got my window here providing the natural lighting, but
yeah,
it's a problem when I do the late night Millie Maker Roundtable show, and it starts at a time when it's late, and then it gets dark afterward, and I don't have any. I need some fancy lights that light me up and make me look good. So maybe we'll make that investment soon.
3v3 from Bum Knee. Alexi, Perez, and Schwarber versus Wheeler, Schrock, and Diaz. Alexi, Perez, Schwarber, Wheeler, Schrock, Diaz.
The first one will be way, way lower owned than the second. It's definitely more riskier with the worst pitcher, but I would go with that one in GPPs for sure. The first option, Alexi, Perez, Schwarber.
Okay. Alexi, Perez, are you there with him, Gary?
Yep.
Okay, very good. We've gotten through every position. We've gone through the pitchers and the offense. And unless you guys got any more questions, we're just going to go talk about other stuff. Plus, 14 likes shy of Uncle T's age. We need 161. I think you guys could get there today, too. You guys could get there. Like I said, you've been grinding all season long. We appreciate you watching.
Do it for Uncle T. Do it for Uncle T.
Screw Uncle T. We don't want to do anything.
Hey, Uncle T put out a beautiful playbook today.
Did he? He's the one that did the playbook?
I mean, do you not pay attention of who?
No, I don't read. Playbook? I don't read anything he writes.
So hurtful to our man Uncle T.
Why is it hurtful? He's so mean to me. You should see some of the stuff he says to me in the Discord, dude. It's vile. It's downright vile. And if I got the authorities involved, they would probably do something to him. Man, I'm serious. Never trust a man with a mustache is all I'm going to tell you, Gary. Don't do it, dude. It's a very shifty character. Very, very, very shady. Again, if you got any more questions, hit us up. We're 9 minutes before lock. And if you're not going to do that, let's just talk about the rest of the baseball world tonight, guys. MVP. It's got to be Ohtani, right? We're not giving it to Vlad, right?
It's Ohtani, but
I mean, I think there's a legitimate case. Like if Vlad won the Triple Crown, there'd be a legitimate case for him. But unless he does that, I don't think there's any case.
I feel like Marcus Semien is having as good a season as Vlad in a lot of cases, in a lot of different numbers. I mean, I don't know if that takes away from it or anything like that, but my God, people are just ignoring Semien, and it blows my mind.
Yeah.
He's really been, look at it, just the production. He's right there with Vlad.
He's what a choice by him. He signed that 1 year prove it contract. Now he's going to get paid huge. I do think People like talk about, Juan Soto. It kind of has a MVP case now too,
Love
with how well he's finished. People talk about, their team's not good. They can't carry their team to the playoffs. It's like, I actually think your team being bad in baseball is almost a point in your favor. Like, it's much harder to perform when all your teammates suck in the lineup, right? You don't have any lineup protection. There's nobody on base in front of you or knocking you in, or you're, in Shohei Ohtani's case, you're a pitcher for a bad team that can't play well. Like, baseball in a lot of ways it's like a individual sport disguised as a team sport, right? Like, ultimately, you don't really have that much interaction, like cooperation with your teammate required. You're up to bat. It's mano a mano versus the pitcher. Even in the field, you're kind of making your own plays. So the team argument, I get it for other sports. Maybe you have to be on a good team for football or basketball. For baseball, I think it's all production based for me.
All production based for baseball. Okay. Gary, you were talking about if he wins the Triple Crown, but over there in the National League, like, I would love to give it to Soto. Soto's going to win multiple MVPs as long as he stays healthy. I honestly believe, like, he's right there with Mike Trout as the best hitter in the league, and Vlad too. But Soto is going to do so many special. He's already done special stuff. He's going to be so special in the years coming. But I can't give him the MVP this year. Can you? I mean, Tatis is leading in home runs. Harper's carrying his team down the stretch. Love the Juan Soto, but Bryce Harper.
I would hate to be a voter in the National League. Like, it's a tough decision. Like, I mean, you have all these studs, like, and then you got, I mean, the Braves, like, I mean, you got some of the Braves hitters. I mean, they're not even in that same category, but
who would you give it to from there?
The Braves MVP this year is Austin Riley, and it's not even close.
Oh.
I mean, he's batting over 300. He's got over 30 home runs, 100 RBIs. I mean, he's been amazing, and he's going to be awesome. Like, I can't wait for next year when we get Acuna back, who, in my opinion, is right up there with Soto. I mean, those two guys are going to be neck and neck for their whole careers. It's going to be awesome to watch for sure.
I hope so. It's going to be awesome, man. I really, Willie Adames scratched. Thank you, Richie Smalls. If you had Adames in there, watch out. Did Scherzer wrap up the NL Cy Young Award already?
I think so. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, he's had one or two like shaky starts recently, but I mean, all the starts that he had right after the All-Star break were just dominant. Like, yes, I think
he's looking at one of the greatest pitchers in the history of the game. It's just so much fun.
I love his intensity too.
Yep.
Like, I mean, he gives it everything.
Yep. He loves rescuing dogs too, which is totally awesome. Probably my favorite thing about him. American League, Robbie Ray won it. The Dunsky?
I would say Robbie Ray for sure. I mean, Ohtani's been really good too. I mean, I think he'll probably get some votes, but I think it should be Ray for sure.
Yeah, It's got to be Ray. Ray's been the most consistent, right? Kind of carried that team pitching wise all year.
Rookie of the year in the American League, it was Adolis Garcia coming into the month. Is he still there? I mean, Arena's got to be there too. Who is the AL Rookie of the Year?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah. I haven't been following the AL Rookie of the Year race super closely. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
okay. How about the NL Rookie of the Year? Have you?
It's got to be Jonathan India. I mean, in the NL, it's got to be Jonathan India.
Yeah,
he's great with that.
He's been fantastic.
Who has been the player that has helped you win the most money this year? Do you have one player? Off for me, it's Darren Ruff. I go back to Darren Ruff. My two nice wins this year that actually happened was both of them was Darren Ruff having a big night and very low ownership.
Yeah, I had a huge night back in April or May. Kyle Gibson was the key part of that one, so he might be my answer.
Okay, what do you got, Gary?
Hey, it's a homer pick, but it's the night that I won the most money. I think I took down a $66 tournament or something. It was Ronald Acuna before he got hurt.
We got a 3v3 Byron. I like that one. Byron McIntyre, Singer, Bogarts, Donaldson, or Webb, Iglesias, McMahon. Singer, Bogarts, Donaldson, Webb, Iglesias, McMahon.
I'm gonna actually like number one there, and I'm not even on Singer. I'm not on McMahon or Iglesias all that much.
You there? Ruiz at 4.7. Is that absurd or allowed?
No, he's a good pivot. He's been crushing the ball for the Nationals, and he looks like a super legit I think, he could be a top 5 hitting catcher. He might be right now or next year, going into next year. And Coors Field, yeah, I love it.
Guy easy. Aquino on Cincy is the rookie of the year. You think?
No.
Aquino.
Like Aristides Aquino?
No. He has barely even played this year.
I think Richie's making fun. That's what I think he's doing. And I'm also there with you. I think Acuna probably gets this MVP award. He's such an amazing all-around talent. It really does suck not to see him this year. It's just like Trout. We lost 2 of the 5 most exciting players in the game to injury this season and most of the season. What's so funny, DC? Schrock. I'm going to read this, okay? I'm going to read this. Gavitz, Schrock, or Ethan Bush, last piece, outfield GPP. Who are you taking, Gary? Schrock?
Big Bush guy.
I'm going Schrock.
Schrock. Bush is gross, dude. It's seriously, what is wrong? What happened with me and Kendrick Perkins, Max Hankins? I never watch. I really never watch ESPN, and I think I had it on from the game last night to hear Kendrick Perkins talking about the military or something, and it's why he got his vaccine. So I was just like, he's like, oh, if the military can do it, the government trusts them. And I said, no, actually, the government doesn't give a shit about the military. I had an ex, my ex was in the Iraqi burn pits. They didn't give a shit. They've given him Agent Orange. I said, go do that. Worst healthcare in the world. So Kendrick was like, ooh, this is how I made my decision. I said, okay, that's fine. Just be a little bit more educated about it. So that's what happened with me and Kendrick Perkins today. And Max, I don't think it was a big deal. Everything's good. All right. Thanks for asking, though. Appreciate it. DC, final thoughts from you, because I got to get out of here. I got a little princess I got to take care of.
Yeah, no, I think that'll do it. It seems like a somewhat hard to say about a 13-game slate, but seems somewhat straightforward to me. We'll see if our guys can come through, and then we'll try it again a couple more times this week.
Gary?
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It should be Boston. I mean, there's a lot of good games. I can't wait to sit down and just watch this Atlanta-Philly game. So, yeah.
Me too. I'll have that in the Yankees Jays on. All right, I'm going to go tape the Wishbone pod in about 10, 15 minutes from right now. Make sure you listen to it. It'll be here on YouTube or on your favorite podcast provider. The Wishbone, me, Uncle T, G Risen, JT Hayes. We talk a little football and a whole bunch of other BS. For Gary and my man DC and my man Simon behind the scenes, I'm Holden. Keep running pure. Get us out of here, Simon.